Hi, in this video we're going to give you an introduction to spatial visualization, which is a very important skill to support STEM majors and careers. So first we'll start by introducing what spatial visualization is. So really, spatial visualization is the ability to visualize or manipulate 2D and 3D objects in your mind. So being able to see an object rotate or move around in your own mind. And it's really an important skill in many careers. For example, in medicine, many doctors are asked to do what we call ultrasound guided procedures, where they're using a 2D screen and they're trying to visualize and insert their tool or do an injection and find somewhere in the body that's 3 dimensions. So they have to mentally rotate the body in their mind by looking at just a 2D screen. So the problem is spatial visualization skills have not been emphasized in traditional education. There's never been a dedicated class for this in K through 12, but there have been a lot of studies that have shown that spatial visualization skills are learnable. And so actually practicing sketching 2D and 3D shapes is one of the best ways to improve your spatial skills. So all of this is based on a study, many different studies that have been done, longitudinal studies that have been done to study spatial visualization, and it has been observed over time that actually giving a 1-unit spatial visualization class can lead to improved graduation rates and higher GPAs in introductory STEM classes. So let's look at some examples of spatial visualization in use. So in civil and structural engineering, it's very common that you might be designing a house or a bridge, and you need to be able to look at 3-dimensional objects, the 3D house or building, and then you need to be able to look at what does each elevation look like or what does the plan view look like. So you need to be able to go from a 2D to a 3D object. In medicine, as I mentioned, you might be looking at a 2D slice of the heart or an ultrasound that shows maybe a baby inside someone's a uterus, and you're just trying to figure out how that looks in 3D. So you need to go from 2D to 3D and be able to visualize things very easily. In mechanical engineering, you're designing all sorts of mechanical systems or bolts or connectors, and again, just like civil and structural engineering, you need to be able to go from the 2D views and produce a 3D object of a mechanical component. In art, we have 2D types of art like pictures or this snake path at UC San Diego, or 3D art, so sculptures. And so you've got paintings and collages that are 2D, and sculptures and other art installations could be 3D. So as an artist, you need to be able to go from 2D to 3D as well. And we're all familiar with video games, and you've got different types of video games. Like in Minecraft, everything is 3-dimension, and you're kind of rotating around in a 3-dimensional space, and you're playing in first-person view, so you're kind of walking around there, as opposed to Terraria, which is more 2D graphics, and you're playing in third-person view, so you're watching your character do something to other things instead of your eyes are the character, or your eyes are in first-person view. So again, being able to visualize, a lot of students have learned how to visualize things better by playing video games. So I guess is one valuable thing about all that screen time. And then, of course, there's science. And in chemistry, you need to be able to see 3D molecules and how do they bond with each other and create other molecules. And sometimes you represent them in 2-dimensional view, and sometimes they're in 3-dimensional view. And visualizing this is very important to your understanding. So how do we improve spatial skills? Well, as we mentioned before, sketching improves spatial visualization skills. Sketching is also very helpful because a picture is basically like 1,000 words, basically. So for example, this graphic or image that was sketched here is what we call the $1 Million Doodle. And it was just the start of developing a design for a sailboat, which eventually became like the most affordable and the racing boat in its class. And it started by just a sketch, okay? And so, and sketching is easier and quicker than getting into CAD or computer-aided design. So really, we like to start our designs with sketches before we jump into the computers. And it's really good to learn how to sketch because it's a great way to communicate when you're working in teams and brainstorming on ideas. Another way to improve your sketching and your spatial skills is through the Spatial Vis sketching app. The app is runs on a touchscreen device, so Apple or Android phones, tablets, and Chromebooks. And what's nice about it is it has an automatic grading algorithm, so you can get immediate and personalized feedback. So you get hints when you're stuck, and you can instantly see how you're sketching and improve your sketching skills. And it goes through all sorts of different modules. So one of the things when using the Spatial Vis app is that we do provide hint and peek features. So you can take a hint and you can peek at the solution. But what we found is that it's okay to get help when you need it, but you should try as much as you can to achieve the solution on your own first, because this is called persistence, and this is also called meaningful struggle. So if something's too easy for you, you don't really learn. If something's too hard for you, you might give up and not learn as well. But if you're struggling meaningfully on some subject or a math problem or something, you end up learning it better. And so what we want and encourage you to do is when you get the grading algorithm, you see a wheel that shows how many correct lines you have and how many incorrect lines you have. We would like you to retry, if you got something wrong, to retry a few times before you hint and peek. And if you do this, if you retry, you can retry 10 times. If you finally get it right after retrying as many times as you want, you get 3 stars when you solve the solution with no help. But if you take a hint, you lose a star. And if you peek at the solution, you lose 2 stars. And so we really want to encourage you to get as many stars as you can, because you'll learn the material better. Another thing to mention is that in every module, the last 3 assignments are what we call test questions. So let's say Module 2 has 31 assignments, then assignment number 29, 30, and 31 are test questions, and we don't let you take a hint or peek. So the difficulty of that problem is more medium level, but you need to keep retrying until you get that right, just to make sure you know what you're doing. So again, the moral of this is if you're stuck, it's okay to use help, but try to do the next problem or retry the problems as much as possible. So let's look into the Spatial Vis app and do like a little demonstration. So here is the user interface. This talks a little bit about the star reward system. This shows a little bit about the feedback you get in the grading algorithm. And this just shows you how you can sketch. This is just on the introductory lesson, and you can see that you can sketch. Typically a stylus is good to use, but if you're good with your finger, that's fine. And then you can submit, and it grades you and it gives you 3 stars because you did such a good job. In this example, you can see that a mistake is going to be made. So if you take a look at the upper right quadrant where the assignment is, you could take a look at what was drawn, and when we submit it, you can see that there was a mistake and we got some incorrect lines, and so this time we're going to take a hint, and the green lines show that what you drew that were correct, and so all it shows is the correct lines. So now we're going to take a peek and show you what the peek looks like. The peek shows the green lines were correct, the blue were missing, and the red lines were incorrect. So now after I got that feedback, I go to the eraser and I can erase the parts that I know that are wrong. And then I can go ahead and hit the pencil button again, and I can finish up my exercise. I realized that I had done a 3x3 instead of a 2x2 rectangle square. And this time you see I only get 1 star because I took a hint and a peek. So that's an introduction to the Spatial Vis app and the importance of spatial visualization. And so you're ready to go start the introductory module, Module 0, and learn about the different grading parameters, and also how to pan and zoom, and how to operate the app. Thank you.